Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
Oh, we're talking about you all day.
Oh my God.
Blake Lively thought she was making a legendary return to Hollywood, but instead, she walked straight into the most humiliating moment of her career.
Anna Kendrick can't fake it. She's just like, listen, I know y'all want me to, but I can't with this woman.
The flashing cameras, the red carpet, the Another Simple Favor premiere was supposed to be her grand re-entry into the spotlight. She had it all planned. The effortless charm, the stunning outfit, the big I'm back moment that would make everyone forget about the scandals and controversy. But the second she arrived, it became painfully clear that this wasn't a comeback.
I don't know. This doesn't look like a woman under stress. This doesn't look like a woman who can barely get out of bed, as we've seen in reports. This looks like a woman who cannot wait to be back in the spotlight.
It was a career funeral. Her co-stars over her fans turning against her, Hollywood done pretending to care, and the final nail in the coffin, the woman standing just feet away from her, Anna Kendrick.
On Friday, the premiere of Another Simple Favor, starring the Never With Teeth icon and Anna Kendrick, happened in Austin, Texas at the South by Southwest Film Festival.
Blake and Anna have a history, and by history, I mean they cannot stand each other. The tension between them goes way back to 2018 when they shot the first A Simple Favor, but we'll get into that later. Right now, let's talk about the brutal, ice-cold moment that sent the internet into a meltdown. A reporter, probably expecting some fake-friendly PR answer, asked Anna Kendrick the most basic softball question. What does it mean to be working with Blake again? And instead of playing along, instead of pretending, she just said, oh, you know, that's it. No fake enthusiasm, no attempt to sugarcoat. Just 3 words, flatly delivered with the kind of dismissal that burns hotter than the sun, and the second that clip hit the internet, chaos, Twitter, Reddit, celebrity gossip sites, everyone was talking about how Anna couldn't even fake a smile for Blake. Body language experts analyzed her stiff posture, her blank expression, the way she barely even acknowledged the question. And it all pointed to one thing. Anna Kendrick wants nothing to do with Blake Lively. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, Henry Golding joined in. When asked about reuniting with his co-stars, he smirked and said, "What could go wrong? If that's not Hollywood code for, this was a disaster, I don't know what is." Blake tried to act unbothered. She smiled, she posed, she put on the same bubbly, effortlessly charming act she's been selling for years. But the problem? Nobody was buying it anymore.
The yummy chanteuse did show up and walked the red carpet.
And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, the real-world backlash hit. Outside the venue, protesters were waiting, and not just a few people holding signs. This was an organized takedown. Massive posters reading "Blake lied" and "Justice for Justin Baldoni" filled the streets. But the real dagger? Someone actually designed custom "Blake lied" t-shirts. Let that sink in? Someone took time out of their life to design, print, and wear a whole outfit dedicated to dragging her. That's not just hate, that's personal. And if you think this was just some Twitter outrage spilling into the streets, think again. Even mainstream celebrity news outlets like Daily Mail covered the protests, proving that this wasn't just online drama, this was real-life humiliation. But here's where it gets even worse.
Anna Kendrick wanted none of that. She chose not to. Smart, I think, right?
For years, Blake got away with it. The perfect Hollywood sweetheart act, the sarcastic but lovable Instagram posts, the idea that she was effortlessly cool, untouchable, the queen of relatable celebrity culture. But now, the mask is slipping. She thought she could walk into this premiere, smile for the cameras, and pretend like nothing had changed. But deep down, she knew exactly what was happening. She could feel it in the way people looked at her, in the way the energy had shifted. Hollywood wasn't celebrating her, it was tolerating her, and that's how careers die. Not in one big cancellation, not with some dramatic statement from a studio, but with silence, because Hollywood doesn't need to cancel you. It does something worse. It ignores you. And Blake? She's already being ignored. Her co-stars won't defend her. Her industry friends have disappeared. Even the media, who once treated her like Hollywood royalty, aren't even bothering to spin her scandals anymore. But if you think this premiere was awkward, just wait, because this isn't the first time Blake has burned bridges in Hollywood, and the ugly truth about her and Anna Kendrick, it goes way deeper than anyone realized. And when you hear what really happened between them, it'll make perfect sense why Anna didn't even try to fake it.
I don't know. This doesn't look like a woman under stress. This doesn't look like a woman who can barely get out of bed, as we've seen in reports. This looks like a woman who cannot wait to be back in the spotlight.
Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick never liked each other. Not in 2018, not now, not ever. Hollywood loves to sell the idea that co-stars are best friends behind the scenes, but in this case, they couldn't even pretend. The Another Simple Favor premiere wasn't just an awkward red carpet moment, it was the final confirmation that these two absolutely cannot stand each other. But the real question is, what happened between them that made even a PR-friendly reunion impossible? Because this wasn't just a one-time passive-aggressive moment. This was years of built-up resentment finally spilling out into the open, and trust me, when you hear what went down behind the scenes of their first movie, you'll understand exactly why Anna Kendrick had nothing nice to say.
Anna, what does it mean to be working with Blake again?
We're talking about you all day.
Oh my God.
Let's rewind to the first A Simple Favor movie. On paper, this should have been a fun, lighthearted collaboration, a psychological thriller with a comedic twist, led by two successful actresses. But behind the scenes, it was a disaster. The tension between Blake and Anna was so unbearable, so obvious, that the studio had to separate them for interviews. Read that again. They were so bad together that the marketing team had to strategically keep them apart just to prevent any awkward tension from ruining the press tour. And if you think that sounds dramatic, just look at their old interviews. The clips are painfully awkward. Forced smiles, zero chemistry, and Anna looking like she'd rather be anywhere else than sitting next to Blake. And it wasn't just the usual, oh, they just didn't click situation. It was worse.
What's it like working with her again? Oh, you know. I know.
Anna Kendrick is a professional. She shows up, does her job, and doesn't have time for Hollywood games. Blake Lively, she is the game. She's the queen of fake friendships, always working the PR machine, always playing the media like a chessboard. And from the very start, Anna saw right through her. She knew Blake wasn't some effortlessly cool, down-to-earth starlet. She was a master manipulator who built her career on perfectly crafted media moves. And Anna? She wanted no part of it, even. Back in 2018, there were rumors that Blake acted like she was the star of the movie, despite Anna technically being the lead. There were whispers about Blake demanding special treatment on set, controlling the narrative, and making sure she got the most attention. And when it came time for the press tour, Anna flat out refused to play along. She wasn't about to fake a friendship for the cameras. And Blake? She hated that. Because if there's one thing Blake Lively can't stand, it's someone she can't control.
I think this was a great response. She didn't even want to play nice. That is how bad it is to be around Blake Lively. Anna knows how important this is.
And honestly, Anna Kendrick isn't the first person to call Blake out, because Blake has a pattern. Everywhere she goes, drama follows. Scarlett Johansson publicly called Blake passive-aggressive and jealous after their time together. Former assistants and crew members have described her as a nightmare to work with. Major brands like Gucci and Chanel have quietly distanced themselves, no longer calling her for campaigns. And now, Hollywood agents are straight up telling studios that hiring Blake Lively is a financial risk because she's not just unpopular, she's a liability. She might have gotten away with it 5 years ago, but now people are paying attention, and the fact that Anna Kendrick, who, by the way, is known for being polite and professional, couldn't even fake a smile for Blake, that tells you everything.
Kendrick was privately fuming at Lively's failure to address how her ongoing battle with Baldoni was negatively impacting their upcoming movie.
Blake Lively spent years convincing Hollywood she was untouchable. The effortlessly cool actress, the ultimate style icon, the woman everyone wanted to be or be with. But after the Another Simple Favor premiere, that entire illusion is shattered. Because what happened on that red carpet wasn't just an awkward celebrity moment, it was a turning point. The moment Blake realized she's lost control of her own narrative. The moment Hollywood stopped pretending she mattered. And the moment her career officially entered freefall.
And there's a hypocrisy and a fraudulence there that the public is picking up on.
And if you think Blake was going to sit back and let Anna steal the attention, think again. Because the second she realized the press wasn't eating up her comeback narrative, she went into full damage control mode. And that's where the poster controversy comes in. This is how petty it got. When the promotional poster for Another Simple Favor 2 was released, Anna's name was listed first, which, by the way, is standard, considering she's the lead. But Blake, she couldn't handle it, so instead of dealing with it like a normal person, she reportedly demanded that her name be placed higher than Anna's. Not bigger, not in a different color, just physically higher. The level of insecurity and desperation behind that move? Embarrassing. And the second fans noticed, they roasted her for it. One tweet racking up thousands of likes summed it up perfectly. Blake Lively would rather cancel the entire movie than let Anna Kendrick get more attention. And honestly, no lies detected, because this is who Blake Lively is. A PR-obsessed diva who cannot handle being second place. She built her entire career on manipulating the media into thinking she was Hollywood's golden girl. But now, the industry is catching on. And for the first time in her career, Blake Lively is realizing that Hollywood doesn't love her anymore. In fact, it's already cut her loose. And if you thought the premiere was humiliating, just wait, because Blake's career isn't just in trouble, it's completely falling apart.
She has her poster here, it says, "Justice for Justin Baldoni, Blake lied."
For a long time, Blake Lively could do no wrong. She had brands lining up for endorsement deals. She had designers begging her to wear their clothes. She had Hollywood's biggest studios willing to shape entire projects around her. But now, that's over. Let's start with the fashion industry. At one point, Blake was a front row regular at every major fashion show. Chanel, Gucci, Dior, they all loved her. She wasn't just an actress, she was a high fashion darling. But fast forward to today, those brands have cut her off. Gucci, gone. Chanel, not returning her calls. Major fashion houses, no longer dressing her for big events. That's not just a minor PR problem, that's a full-blown industry exile. And when the fashion world ditches you, you know Hollywood isn't far behind.
She has her poster here, it says, "Justice for Justin Baldoni, Blake lied."
Here's the brutal reality. Blake Lively is no longer bankable. The same Hollywood that once bent over backward to cast her in leading roles now sees her as a liability. Industry insiders are already warning major studios to stay away from her. Because the truth is, casting Blake Lively isn't worth the risk anymore. She doesn't bring in box office numbers, she doesn't have a strong fan base. And after the backlash from Another Simple Favor 2, she's more toxic than ever. And it gets worse.
Blake Lively's terrified to do the red carpet, and that Anna Kendrick is pissed off. This is insider information that she hates her, she can't stand her.
Blake knows her career is hanging by a thread, and rather than own up to her mistakes, she's doing what every Hollywood manipulator does, trying to rewrite history. Enter Nick Shapiro. Never heard of him? That's because you're not supposed. Tu Shapiro is a former CIA chief turned Hollywood PR fixer. His entire job? Making scandals disappear. He was the guy behind Angelina Jolie's divorce PR strategy. He was the man Hollywood called to clean up its biggest messes. And now, he's working for Blake Lively. His job? Scrubbing negative coverage, burying scandals, and reshaping media narratives. But here's the problem. It's not working. Because no PR team, no matter how powerful, can erase what people saw with their own eyes. Anna Kendrick's cold dismissal, the protesters outside the premiere, the way her own co-stars refused to defend her. No amount of damage control can erase the reality of Blake's downfall.
Like, what does it mean to be back with Anna?
Oh, it's the best. I'm so happy. This way.
Blake isn't the only one paying the price for her scandals. Because now, Ryan Reynolds is getting dragged down too. For years, Ryan built his image as Hollywood's funny, charming, self-aware guy. But lately, that image is starting to crack. Because when your wife is at the center of a massive PR disaster, you can't just walk away unscathed. And you know how you can tell Ryan is freaking out? Just look at his social media. For years, his entire brand was built on making sarcastic jokes about Blake. But now, radio silence. Not a single joke. Not a single mention. He's pretending she doesn't exist. And behind the scenes, Hollywood is watching Marvel Studios, the same company that stood by Ezra Miller and Jonathan Majors through major scandals, is reportedly starting to distance itself from Ryan Reynolds. And that is terrifying for him, because if Marvel, the most forgiving studio in Hollywood, thinks you're too risky, that's a death sentence.
She looked really bad then too, but still, she clearly can apologize.
Yeah, she's capable of it.
But she would not apologize, and I find that despicable.
Yeah.
Ryan needs Deadpool 3 to be a hit. It's supposed to be his biggest movie yet. a guaranteed blockbuster that proves he's still a major star. But behind the scenes, the marketing team is panicking because they don't want a single ounce of Blake Lively's PR disaster touching the movie. The last thing they need is for Ryan's biggest career moment to be overshadowed by his wife's scandals. And now, he's being forced to choose: stand by Blake and risk dragging Deadpool 3 down with her, or distance himself and prove that even he knows her career is over. And so far, it looks like he's choosing the second option, because Hollywood isn't just cutting off Blake, they're cutting off both of them. And the deeper you look, the clearer it becomes. Blake Lively isn't just losing her career, she's taking Ryan Reynolds down with her. And the final blow, it's already coming.
You have to kind of go into these details to really get a full understanding of just how bad Blake Lively is.
Blake Lively thought she could survive this. She thought this was just another PR hurdle, another scandal that could be spun, buried, and forgotten. She thought she could flash her signature smile, play the Hollywood sweetheart act, and convince the industry to give her another chance. But Hollywood isn't playing along this time, because this isn't just a rough patch. This isn't just another controversy. This is the end of Blake Lively's career. And the worst part? Hollywood isn't even trying to cancel her. They're doing something even more brutal. They're ignoring her.
Definitely trying to be like, do you think the movie has been impacted by the Blake and Justin stuff, without being so blunt? And Anna tried her best to be like, I don't know, like, what's going on? And she walked away so fast. Like, she did not want to be asked any more questions like that.
Most people think Hollywood cancels people loudly, that there's some dramatic announcement, some big PR statement that officially declares a celebrity done. But that's not how it works. The industry doesn't cancel you. It moves on without you, and right now, Blake Lively is watching it happen in real time. Her name is being quietly removed from casting lists. Her team isn't getting callbacks from major studios, and brands that once fought over her are backing away. Take Gucci and Chanel. There was a time when Blake Lively was their favorite. She sat front row at every show. She was dressed in their gowns for every event. But now, they want nothing to do with her. The fashion world has cut her off. And if you think that's just a coincidence, it's not, because Hollywood works the same way. The moment a celebrity becomes a liability, the industry doesn't make a big deal out of it. They just stop calling. And for Blake, the calls have stopped.
Basically, enemies and their press tours had to be booked separately.
Let's talk about how bad it's gotten. After the Another Simple Favor premiere, there was a moment where Anna Kendrick could have done damage control. She could have said something neutral, something safe, something that at least pretended there was no bad blood. But instead, she refused. Reporters tried to bait her into saying something nice about Blake. They asked about the movie, the reunion, the experience. And Anna, she shut it down. She brushed off the questions. She refused to play along. And at one point, she literally walked away. And if you think that's just some random celebrity mood swing, think again. Because in Hollywood, when your own co-stars won't even fake a friendship for PR, you're done.
You look.
How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
And if Blake was hoping that her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni would clear her name and make her look like a victim, that plan completely backfired. Instead of getting sympathy, she got exposed. Instead of proving she was the good guy, she was painted as a manipulator who thought she could use Hollywood's Me Too movement as a power move. Even major news outlets stopped treating her as a victim. Instead of taking her side, they dug into her history. They highlighted the toxic patterns. They pointed out all the past co-stars, crew members, and assistants who had quietly spoken out against her. And now, the narrative has shifted. Blake Lively isn't the A-list starlet Hollywood once adored. She isn't the relatable fashion queen fans used to worship. She isn't Hollywood royalty. She's a problem, a liability, someone not worth the trouble, and the industry has already decided to move on.
Now it's reported Blake Lively had another issue making the 2018 movie A Simple Favor, which was a success, making $98 million on a budget of $25 million, but she didn't get along with Anna Kendrick.
Here's the thing, Blake isn't going down alone. She's dragging Ryan Reynolds with her. At first, he tried to ignore the backlash. He thought he could just keep making his little sarcastic jokes, keep pretending like everything was fine. But now, even he sees the writing on the wall. Marvel Studios is watching closely. The Deadpool 3 marketing team is in full-blown panic mode. And behind the scenes, Hollywood insiders are starting to question whether Ryan is worth the risk, because the truth is, his career depends on his image. Ryan Reynolds isn't some Oscar-winning, critically acclaimed actor. He isn't a box office powerhouse on his own. His entire brand is based on being likable. And right now, that likability is crumbling. Because when Hollywood turns on you, It doesn't just take away your career, it takes away everything.
Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I've met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film. And and thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Blake thought she could survive this. She thought she could charm her way out of it. She thought she could control the media, spin the narrative, and make a comeback. But she was wrong, because Hollywood isn't interested in a comeback. They're interested in someone new. And that's the brutal truth. Blake Lively isn't being publicly canceled. She isn't being officially blacklisted. She isn't getting some dramatic farewell. She's getting something worse. She's being forgotten. So, what do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you'll be the first to get notified about the latest drama.